In 2025, Ukraine made a calculated decision to strike at the foundation of Russia's war effort: oil. Not on the front lines, but deep inside Russian territory, where refineries, depots, and power plants quietly keep the military running and the economy afloat. The logic is simple. The more of this infrastructure that collapses, the harder it becomes for Russia to fuel its army, support its population, and finance the invasion. Oil is not just an export, it is the bloodstream of the Russian state. On the night of December 13th into December 14th, that strategy unfolded with precision. Ukrainian long-range drones crossed hundreds of kilometers and struck multiple high-value energy targets almost simultaneously. Explosions echoed through Russian regions that had long been told the war would never reach them. Fires burned through oil facilities that are critical not only to military logistics, but to everyday civilian life. In the Volgograd region, the city of Iryupinsk became one of the most visible symbols of this campaign. A major oil depot erupted in flames after drone impacts shortly after midnight. Residents reported loud detonations followed by towering columns of fire. Despite familiar claims from local officials that the blaze was caused by falling debris, the damage told a different story. The depot contained dozens of storage tanks used to receive and distribute fuel from refineries across the region. With those tanks burning, fuel that once sustained both civilian services and regional logistics vanished in a single night. Ukraine did not stop there. Oil refineries, the heart of Russia's fuel production, were once again placed squarely in the crosshairs. In Krasnodar Krai, drones struck the Efipsky refinery, a facility that has been repeatedly targeted throughout 2025. Each strike has chipped away at its output, and by December, production had fallen by as much as 30%. In Yaroslav, drones reached one of Russia's largest refineries, triggering explosions that residents felt through shattered windows and vibrating walls, even as officials minimized the damage with carefully chosen language. Every refinery hit carries consequences far beyond the blast site. Fuel destroyed in storage tanks or halted on production lines cannot be shipped to the front. Without diesel and gasoline, armored vehicles sit idle. Mechanized assaults become rarer. Russian forces are pushed toward infantry-heavy attacks that cost lives and gain little ground. At the same time, oil that cannot be refined or exported deprives the state of revenue that pays for weapons, salaries, and political stability. The energy campaign extended beyond oil. In the Smolensk region, Ukrainian drones struck a thermal power plant that supplies electricity to both civilian infrastructure and industrial facilities tied to Russia's defense sector. While Russian authorities again claimed successful interceptions, fires at the site suggested otherwise. The plant plays a critical role in supporting chemical production, including materials used in explosives and munitions. Its disruption directly affects Russia's ability to sustain missile and bomb production. These strikes exist in a moral gray zone, and Ukraine rarely claims responsibility. But the context matters. Russia has repeatedly targeted Ukraine's power grid, especially in winter, using electricity and heat as weapons against civilians. Millions of Ukrainians have endured blackouts and freezing temperatures as a result. Ukraine's energy strikes mirror that reality, sending a clear message: vulnerabilities cut both ways. The scale of this campaign is not accidental. Over the course of the war, Ukraine has struck a significant portion of Russia's oil refining and extraction infrastructure, with a tempo accelerating sharply in 2025. Nearly half as many successful refinery strikes were recorded compared to the previous year. The result has been a measurable decline in Russia's total refining capacity and a steady erosion of state revenue. Oil and gas taxes have long formed a major pillar of the Russian budget. As refining output falls, so does the money available to fund the war. Inside Russia, the effects are becoming harder to hide. Fuel shortages and rationing have appeared in multiple regions. Refineries hundreds of kilometers from the Ukrainian border remain exposed, despite 2 years of warning. The reason is structural. Air defense systems are finite. Protecting oil infrastructure deep inside Russia means weakening defenses closer to the battlefield. Leaving those facilities exposed invites continued strikes. Either choice benefits Ukraine. At the same time as these long-range attacks, Ukrainian forces have continued to strike military targets in occupied territories. Drone and missile attacks have destroyed command posts, air defense components, electronic warfare systems, and logistics hubs across southern and eastern Ukraine, as well as in Crimea. Even when Russian air defenses intercept some drones, enough get through to inflict damage that cannot be explained away. Official Russian narratives struggle to keep pace with reality. On some nights, authorities claim that nearly all incoming drones were destroyed. On the same nights, fires burn at oil depots, refineries, chemical plants, and power stations. Pro-government media alternates between denying the effectiveness of the strikes and portraying them as massive attacks that threaten national security without addressing the deeper question of why such critical infrastructure remains so vulnerable. The strategic impact is clear. Every successful strike weakens Russia economically, strains its military logistics, and undermines the image of control projected by the Kremlin. Just as importantly, these attacks reshape the diplomatic landscape. By demonstrating the ability to hit strategic targets far inside Russia, Ukraine signals that it retains leverage. The war is not frozen. The cost to Russia continues to rise. What Ukraine is proving night after night is that there is no truly safe rear anymore. The distance that once protected Russia's oil lifeline has disappeared. Refineries, depots, power plants, and ports now sit within reach. As long as that remains true, Russia faces an unsolvable dilemma: defend its deep infrastructure and weaken its forces at the front, or protect the front and accept continued damage at home. Either way, the pressure builds, and with each burning depot and stalled refinery, Ukraine tightens its grip on the one resource Russia cannot fight without: